This is G.I. Gary with a brand new G.I. Joe Classified review here on Pint Comics. And today I'm going to look at this. This is the G.I. Joe Classified Hasbro Pulse Exclusive Snake Eyes 6-inch action figure. Now, I already opened this package up on Facebook Live, so if you haven't seen that yet, you can go to Pint Comics on Facebook and you can look up through the posts and find me opening it up when I got this in the mail at work, and I couldn't really go into it too much at work because I wanted to get out of there and go home so I could do a review here for you guys. So first thing is, again, this is a very professionally packaged product. This is collector's grade packaging, bar none. Everything in here is, you're going to find as I open it up, you're going to be like, wow, you're actually going to take it out of the package. And I'm a guy that likes things out of the box, so yes, I'm going to open this up later on. So first off, it comes in a slipcase. So the box itself. So we got the box, we got the slipcase. So, and it's tight. So I'm trying to do this without too much damage. So we'll put the slipcase there, and then we have the Snake Eyes here with the beautiful scroll work embossed on the box, front and back. And then you open it up, and it's just these little finger pulls on the side. And it's a little bit hard to get out, and it will go. And oh yeah, it's like I said, brand new, very tight. And then we have, and with also noticing on the boss, you have the wolf of timber. Now, and also on each side of the front, you can see a little bit of the Arashikage symbol right here on the top. And also what you'll get is a beautiful pencil sketch of what the embossing is. You have the Arashikage symbol, you have timber, essentially the wolf, you have a dragon mask symbolizing the Far East culture, Snake Eyes and kanji over here in the corner, a little more dragon, cross swords, and one of the swords on the hilt does have the Arashikage symbol. Absolutely beautiful artwork. And it's so cool that it's packaged with the action figure on top of everything else. And then what we get is the beautiful packaging where you have the black and white, essentially retail packaging in here, packaged around in foam. And you have all the tools in individually cut out spots for the weapons rack right here. Now we'll take the weapons rack out quickly just to show you this, and that it is, you have the more of the work on here, but then you do have the Arashikage symbol on the back where you can mount your weapons. But then you have like this is a traditional Japanese art on that. And then what we'll do is we'll take a look. Then I'll put that back in. And then what we have here is the box that'll be opened up. And then you have just a little piece of tape on the top. You slice that, everything will come out. We got the number 00 for its exclusivity. We have the Arashikage symbol. We have some black and white artwork on the back. Snake Eyes and kanji again. And just overall, well-presented toy with more weapons and accessories inside the box. So here's everything outside of the package, and Snake Eyes is just as impressive outside of the package as he is inside. While the packaging is next level, so is the action figure and the weapon stand itself. The one thing that you'll notice is the two extra hands right below him there, and you'll see that you do have the option of swapping hands out. For now, let's just take a gander at everything, all nice and displayed. And you can see on the Arashikage symbol, which is defined as 2 dashes, a long line, 2 dashes, a long line, 2 dashes, and a long line. The weapons match up with the dashes or the long line. And one thing I found about the weapon stand, I'll talk about the weapon stand for a few seconds, is that the weapons are not too well balanced. It might just be the way how badly I put them on, and it took some fiddling to get on there and a little shaking. They fall right off. But in environment where they won't be subjected to any, vibrations or stuff, you set it up and it'll stay like that for a good long time. But a little shaking of the table or your shelf, you have it on a dresser, this stuff's going to fall off, especially if there's like slamming going around. And it is still a really cool diorama-esque feature. It's a good addition. What many people have said, and I'll probably echo this sentiment, is that instead of this weapons stand, why didn't we get a timber wolf figure to go with Snake Eyes? And I could also argue the fact that timber is less essential to Snake Eyes, unlike, say, Junkyard is to Mutt or Order is to Law, where those two guys really do need their canine companions. I think because Snake Eyes is a lone wolf himself, timber isn't an essential accessory or companion for Snake Eyes. I think Snake Eyes' iconography or his character doesn't require that of an animal companion to bring out his character even more. Snake Eyes has some interesting articulation features that were essentially pioneered through the Marvel Legends line. The most notable ones that you can see, you'll see the ab crunch and the double jointed elbows and double jointed knees and the fully articulate boots, whereas the feet aren't that articulated, whereas some of it comes at the boot line. So, and I'll just come over here. So you can see right here, you got the boot right here. So the foot can swivel all the way around. You can see that right there with the belt buckle right there. So that's where the foot swivel is. So whereas right here, it doesn't swivel as much, but you can see it's nice and rock. There's a lot of articulation to move that. And again, the double jointed knee. And then also you have a thigh swivel, if you're not familiar with Marvel Legends. So, and it's actually well hidden because of the strap here. You can see the swivel joint there. The other thing is you do have your ball socket, similar to that of 4-inch G.I. Joes. And then you also have the ab crunch right here. Now, one thing I will note over here is that this is my second Snake Eyes I've opened up. My first one was very floppy over here. So I have yet to determine what I'm going to do with my extra. All right, and one thing else below his belt is the waist. So you have your swivel right here, left and right. But one other thing it does, and it's going to be really hard for me to capture on film, is that it's actually a little bit of a ball joint itself. So it allows him to swivel a little bit and also crunch there too at the waist. So he's almost double jointed between the waist and the ab crunch. So he's actually a guy where if you stiffen up his legs, and remember these are really, really thick figure, really stiff because he's brand new. I've been playing with him all week, but you can see he can almost just about touch his toes, and if you really do it, there you go. He's touching his toes without much trouble. So not too many action figures can do that. The other thing that's going to be hard for me to show you is the neck. And you can see right here, so the head turns left and right on a ball swivel, but then the neck itself, and I'm going to see if I can get enough friction with my finger, but it's not. But the neck itself also, maybe I'll try it this way. But the neck itself also swivels too, up and down and a little bit. So it's a multi-jointed neck as well. That's something I haven't seen on Marvel Legends figures yet. The shoulders are nice. You got a nice ball socket here. Arm goes all the way around, and then it goes up, and down, and then you have an upper swivel here. Then on the arm, you have your wrist right here that goes around. And that's a detachable wrist, and that's about it. So he's well articulated. He does have a backpack peg, and his backpack does stow nicely in there. You have to make sure you hear that snap. And there's another peg for the sheath to snap on the backpack. So that's very echoes of version 2. It is, quite frankly, this has been a guy I haven't been able to keep my hands off of for all week. And the fact that when taking him down to his essentials, taking him down to essentials, he's like a 4-inch G.I. Joe. You know, you take it, you can swivel the gun out, take the finger out of the trigger guard. So this gun goes here. This is the only accessory he doesn't. The gun, nice model of an Uzi. So it's you know, you have the extended magazine. You know, a good nice butt to go against the shoulder if need be. You know, the iron sights, the muzzle. And that looks really good. And then on his hip, you have the spot for his pistol. And looks similar to that of a semi-automatic pistol, the extended barrel, and the extended barrel is designed for the silencer. The extended barrel is designed for the silencer that snaps on. So while Snake Eyes could take things out instead of with a bang, with a thwip. And I heard a rumor the silencer also fits his Uzi. So that is another cool multi-use accessory from Snake Eyes. Now, let's see. So we've taken out his pistol, his silencer. Pistol and silencer. Now, his sword. And one of the things we always did, you know, can he reach out his sword? Yeah, he can reach his sword and pull it out. And when it pulls out, you know, it swivels. And suspension of disbelief, pull it out, you know, hold it. And he can hold it in both hands at the same time because of the articulation. So, you know, remember, it has been canonized by Larry Hama that Snake Eyes does prefer his right hand, so his right hand should be on the top of the grip. But you can't get both hands on the sword at the same time. That's just way cool. And wielding it like a broadsword. And so the sword comes out there. Now in the backpack zone, so the sheath comes right off with a nice painted detail of leather, you know, with the black plastic tip, and then also a painted Arashikage symbol on both sides. And then you have his backpack, which is a nice utility pack. It snaps through a hole in his back, and also there's a hole in the bandolier. So make sure it goes through both when you're putting it in, and make sure you hear it snap, because if you don't hear it snap, it doesn't really stay too well, but it comes off nice and easy. And it works out very well for the figure. Now the bandolier we can come off. I leave it on. It's more hassle than it's worth to break it down. Oh, and then again, you have a removable sheath right over here for another knife right here. It's a fair amount of gear on the action figure, with only the Uzi not storing easily on Snake Eyes. So for him, you know, like walking around on patrol or going to a destination. So he's going to be holding that a whole time. Maybe a strap for him to sling it around his shoulder might be a cool idea. But other than that, I mean, this is a very well thought out figure so far with his accessories, especially being able to hold all of that at once. So Snake Eyes does come with two other accessories, two hands, a left hand and a right hand. So his right hand on one side looks like a simple like karate chop hand motion, but you do see that little black strap around his the back of his hand. When you turn it around, you can see it is just like a little bit of climbing cloth. So there, you can get a good view of the texture there. So for scaling walls, mountains, and stuff. But if you don't show it, it still looks like a good hand for doing like a karate chop motion to silently knock out a Cobra soldier, or even just waving high. But the other, his left hand, you have some brass knuckles molded into his glove, and then you have him holding a throwing star. So that's a really neat little thing. So you don't need to worry about losing the throwing star. You'll just lose the whole hand. Now, one thing I'll say about this is because you do have 2 extra hands, and you do have this, and one thing, and you do have this big beefy backpack. It would be cool, in the name of, you know, not losing accessories, is if this backpack was able to hold, you could sneak the gloves into the backpack. I don't know if that's asking too much. What would you do? This is a deluxe figure already. Something I noticed, something that'd be cool. Just something so, because like with anything, you know, I don't want to have to keep these guys in a Ziploc baggie or a separate area while I'm displaying my figure if he has all his other gear. And if these hands are on him, are not on him, you know, he has 2 other, you know, if these hands are on him, his other hands would be off, and where would I put those? So it'd be just nice so this way I wouldn't have a separate area to put it. So here's a comparison of 50th anniversary Snake Eyes from 2015 to 2020 6-inch Snake Eyes. Now, one of the things that I'd like to point out is how the web accessories on the 6-inch Snake Eyes better fit via scaling than the accessories on the 4-inch Snake Eyes. Now, obviously, they did a very good job in scaling down the accessories for the 50th anniversary line, but one thing that I've always found was they always look a little bulky and a little out of place for what they're trying to do. So I'm going to try to get this close, and you can see, you know, you have the knife over here, but if you look how thick it is near his neck, it really shouldn't be, you know, that looks like if, you know, you were to scale it up, that'd be like a good 3-inch block that you're sticking your knife in. This is almost like putting your knife scabbard using a wood block for your kitchen. You have webbing over here that actually, for the most part, this cloth does a really good job of being thin and, you know, looking like a paratrooper vest. And then you do have the straps, which do look a little chunky, but they're still, to me, a little chunky. This is actually one of the better figures, as far as I'm concerned, with accessories and having accessories mounted on the figure. You know, we do have the pistol holster with the silencer. You know, because the things are so small, tolerances have to be held incredibly tight. So you can see the silencer just keeps falling down the hole. And then you have another big, nice, chunky wood block for a knife scabbard on his right thigh. So this is a really cool figure in its own right. So obviously you can see with upscaling, you're able to pack in loads more details. And this would be something where I would say, we all know G.I. Joe started out in a 12-inch scale. So imagine utilizing this action figure construction in an even larger scale. At that point, you're looking at creating essentially like little humans, because if you're able to get this much detail in 6-inch, and that's the upscale from the 4-inch, which the 4-inch is a leap forward from the 3 3/4, you can only imagine what you can do as you keep going bigger and bigger. So we have 3 versions of Snake Eyes: the 1985 version 2, the 2015 50th anniversary release, and then we also have 2020 6-inch Snake Eyes on the far right. So one thing that all 3 of these guys share is their visor. So we can see the Knight's visor right here, and molded in gray, in the same paint app as his bandolier and his web belts, with only the silver arrow on his right wrist. And then you get to the 2015 Snake Eyes. So you can see, whereas the 1985 will have the lips, you have a nice smooth sculpt for the head right here. I'm trying to get it nice in the light and in the camera. So it mimics the 85, but no lips. And then we'll get to the 2020 Snake Eyes. So the 2020 Snake Eyes. One of the things too is, when we're looking at it, you can see the little vents right below the visor, which mimics that of the version 1 Snake Eyes commando head, or even the version 4, some people call it the paintball goggles head. So, I mean, the detail is just beyond. Snake Eyes. We're going to look at some of the other details here besides his mask there. And you can see the little Arashikage symbol on his chest webbing. And then you go down, you know, you can see the sculpting and the body armor and the abs. And then you also have his web belts with some more Arashikage symbol. And then you get a good look at his webbing for his legs, which are in great location because they cover up the leg swivel right above it. So it makes the leg swivel almost, well, you cover it up, it's absolutely unnoticeable. And then you can go down to the knee pads, which are a little silver, but that's like the 50th anniversary. Then you have a little leather top or boot top to the boots. You know, and then you're looking around at the Uzi with the brass knuckles. You know, I mean, just, you know, you see the button snaps. I mean, the webbing. Just coming around, you got, you know, the Arashikage symbol on both sides of the scabbard. You know, just absolutely stunning, the amount of work going into creating this action figure. Now, one thing I wanted to compare with Snake Eyes was comparing his articulation to that of some other Marvel Legends action figures. Now, I chose Shang-Chi because he is, I would say, most similar of my collection to Snake Eyes. And one thing I did notice, while Snake Eyes does have an extra articulated neck, so I'm going to get closer in here. So we're going to go look closer into the Snake Eyes' neck, and you can see it right there. And what that does is it gives him molding. And also, down here, you get a little bit of a little more of a ball movement at the waist, besides just a swivel. So, I mean, and you got the standard, and like some standard shoulders, very similar to what we've seen for the past 35 years on Snake Eyes. Now, when you come over here, we'll go over look at Shang-Chi. One of the things that Shang-Chi has, he doesn't have a double jointed neck, and his waist only swivels around left and right. It's not a ball joint, much like Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is the first 6-inch action figure I've seen with that kind of joint. So Shang-Chi has the double jointed shoulder, which allows him to go back and forward. For a martial arts character, the only other one I know of from the Marvel Legends line like that is the Iron Fist. And then, whereas Snake Eyes has a rather standard shoulder going back this far and back this far, which does allow, still has a great range of movement. I guess I would say it's because of the webbing over his chest, doesn't allow that, but he is a ninja, much like Shang-Chi is a martial artist, and I would put them in the same category of action figure. Overall, though, Snake Eyes does have it over Shang-Chi with the double jointed neck and the ball-like waist rather than a swivel waist. So at the end of all this, what do I really think? Well, the packaging is obviously awesome and will look great if you're a mint and package collector. But for me, and as an open box guy, as somebody that wants to physically manipulate this guy's been nothing short of amazing for me. I am not usually a 6-inch guy. My 6-inch Marvel Legends have been on a shelf since I've had them. Obviously, Shang-Chi hasn't had long, but I was looking forward to him. But what Snake Eyes has done is I haven't manipulated those guys nearly as much until I got Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is a great character. One can argue that he is one of the top 2 characters in G.I. Joe American Hero mythos. And having him in hand in such awesome detail and such awesome posability, I want to just keep manipulating him and displaying him and taking pictures of him every chance I can. It's an amazing toy. What I'm going to say is, obviously over here they're saying it's ages 4 and up. I do not think this is a 4 and up toy. If he was a simpler figure like Shang-Chi is with less weapons, and even if you take some of the interchangeable hands away and just leave, a child with gripping hands like the original G.I. Joe Real American Hero, you can make an argument for that to be a 4-year-old toy. This, with the amount of detail, with the amount of accessories, you know, you're looking at, this is an older child, if not adult collectible. And it is so cool to play with, so cool to take pictures with, so cool to display. Now, the 6-inch line, people are saying, it's sad we're not going to get vehicles for that. Well, I could also say that the 12-inch G.I. Joe line didn't really have too many vehicles with it, but the 12-inch G.I. Joe line was very successful for many years without a large stable to uphold it. But they did make a couple vehicles, if I recall correctly. So I wouldn't put it out of the realm for the 6-inch G.I. Joe series to have a vehicle here or there being sprinkled in. Now, is this going to be to replace your 3 3/4 guys or 4-inch guys? Absolutely not. This is a different scale. It's a different play pattern. It's an awesome toy. I'm super excited for the upcoming figures of Duke, Scarlet, and Roadblock, and now, as announced, the Destro that was announced earlier today as I'm recording this. It's just absolutely, these 6-inch guys are going to look amazing, and I got to come up with a way to display them or easy accessible, just because I can't keep my hands off of Snake Eyes. I can't. He's made me play with Shang-Chi more and Iron Fist more, my Daredevil more, just, you know, play acting fight scenes. So I can only imagine when I get a larger gallery of villains for him to fight against, or you know, friends to go into battle with, how much more I'm going to enjoy playing with him and displaying him. And the fact that it's coming out now and it's something that people are going to be able to enjoy now, I think it's going to be really great. Top tier toy, must have. I'm glad I got it, and if you enjoy 6-inch action figures, I think you would enjoy this too. And on that note, see ya.